It is in Buenos Aires, on the east coast of Argentina, that the entire CFMOTO TransAmerica team met for the start of an immense adventure. The Boca district, full of tourists, resonates with the sounds of Argentinian tangos, where everything is for the glory of football, and more precisely, for that of Lionel Messi, the city's true hero. The legendary Bombonera Stadium sends the screams of its fans back into the narrow streets with multicolored houses. It was at the commercial port located not far from La Boca that the riders came to collect the CFMOTO MT 700s, which arrived by boat a few days earlier. This is the model that was chosen to cover the 7,500 kilometers that separate Buenos Aires from Lima in Peru. It was Ghislain Guillot, the boss of GD France, an importer of CFMOTO in France, who had the idea for this incredible journey. For years, under the Goes brand, he has already been taking journalists to discover incredible countries on the handlebars of his machines, in China, Tibet, or even Australia. This time it is here in South America that he decided to install the tires on his machines.
Écoute, les machines sont arrivées en un seul morceau, les pilotes aussi. Et là on met quelques petits accessoires pour pouvoir profiter du tracé sur un hand, tu vois. Et Thierry nous fait les suspensions histoire que ce soit un peu assez confortable, peut-être 1500 bandes si tu veux sur des suspensions réglées un peu dures, puis à la vitesse où on va rouler, c'est pas le but de se faire mal au dos. Donc voilà. Bah, ça a l'air pas mal, hein. On a les crash bars d'origine, on a les pare-mains d'origine, franchement, bonne aventure qui commence là.
The trip will be divided into 3 main stages. First from Buenos Aires to Salta, then from Salta to Arequipa in Peru after crossing Chile, and finally the last one will end in Lima, on the shores of the Pacific Ocean. At each stage, even if the hardcore made up of Ghislain Guillot, Alexander Deban and Simon the guide, the journalists and YouTubers will change throughout the stages. The first today will take them to Rosario, a few hundred kilometers towards the east. Halfway through, at the lunch break, the sky suddenly darkened. The weather forecast predicted bad weather on today's route, but everyone thought they were going to get through the rain. This was not the case, and little by little the rain came onto the stage, creating long straight lines bordered by endless fields of crops.
Magnifique première journée au soleil.
El clima seco de Argentina me encanta.
Claro, ¿viste? Te lo cambio por lo de Cancún. Lo cambiamos.
L'Argentine, il m'a dit t'inquiète pas, ça va être super.
Il pleut jamais en Argentine.
C'est vrai?
Jamais en cette saison. Elle a fait 300 bornes de flotte.
Viva Argentina!
During the night, the rain turned into an incredible storm. And in the early morning, it was under downpours that the pilots set off on the road, which would bring them a little closer to the Andes Mountains. After a night spent in a sumptuous hotel, surrounded by the low mountains of the Massif located in the south of Cordoba, the weather is finally improving. The sun appears in the early morning and portends a beautiful day of riding. In a few days upon arriving in Mendoza, we will have finally crossed these immense cultivated plains, Argentina's vital reserve of wheat, corn, and fruits and vegetables. Mendoza at the foot of the Andes Mountains. We have already traveled 1,000 kilometers since our departure from Buenos Aires a few days ago. It is here, in the CFMOTO dealership in Mendoza, that Simon, our guide, has planned to have our motorcycles serviced and to do the first necessary maintenance on all new machines. When he learned of our project, the owner of the dealership, very enthusiastic about this expedition, opened the doors wide for us and put all his staff to overhaul our machines.
So thank you very, very much to Mendoza CFMOTO dealer, because without CFMOTO dealer, we were out of control.
The maintenance of the 8 motorcycles took the whole day in Mendoza, and it is late when the riders reach the small hotel where we will spend the night. Maintenance on the MT-700s has been carried out, and the machines are now ready to devour the thousands of kilometers they still have to travel to Lima. A good meal, just like at home, a good night's sleep, and in the early morning, everyone is ready for a long day of driving. The Mendoza region is famous for its wines, and it is among the vineyards that everyone prepares. We meet the legendary Route 40, which we will take towards the north along the Andes mountain range.
Mais il y en a qu'une, celle que j'ai envoyée là.
After having devoured kilometers of asphalt, it was in a sublime setting of red mountains, at the bend of a small road that Simon asked to take a coffee break in the middle of the morning. We are at the Mirador de la Cuesta de Huaco. Millions of years ago, when this was still just the bottom of the oceans, nature shaped this gigantic and sublime painting.
Et je m'attendais, à chaque fois qu'on m'en parlait de l'Argentine, on m'en a parlé comme bien, donc j'avais qu'une hâte, c'est d'y aller. Ça fait au moins 20 ans que j'ai envie d'y aller. Et là, grâce à CFMOTO, on a pu enfin faire ce beau raid qui est magnifique.
Ah, it's amazing, amazing. The view is amazing, and all the track down there, the rocks and everything. Yes, it's so good, so good. Argentina is great to do motorcycle. Yeah, I enjoy it a lot.
Everything needed has been unpacked on the side of one of the support vehicles, and Nico, the driver, is already passing around the hot coffee, as well as the mate, a type of local tea much appreciated by Argentinians.
Mind games, that's how they play. Dark days, slowly they fade. Morning will come. No, I won't let go. There's still hope in my heart. This I know. No matter how far I fall, I get up and I carry on. All that I am is all that I need. I carry on into the wild. I still believe. I carry on, pick myself up, back on my feet. Not gonna stop. I carry on. All that I am is all that I need. I carry on.
Route 40 is to Argentina what Route 66 is to the USA, or the Stewart Highway to Australia. It is a legendary and fantastic road that crosses Argentina from north to south for nearly 5,000 kilometers. In the south, it starts near the Strait of Magellan and goes up to the Bolivian border. It is on its long ribbon of asphalt and earth that we will go to Chile much further north. Here, at this precise location, is a famous place we are on, kilometer 4.040 of Route 40.
Alors, on vient d'arriver au point kilométrique 4040 de la route 40 en Argentine. Donc, on est à 4040 km d'Ushuaia, le point kilométrique 0. Et ici, on est dans la province de Catamarca. Donc, c'est ici un point kilométrique mythique sur cette route mythique en Argentine.
Ouais, moi j'ai un truc à faire, là, la rédaction ils m'ont donné une mission, il faut que je colle ces autocollants, c'est obligatoire.
Sur le point kilométrique 40.
Ouais, obligatoire.
4040. Allez.
Je suis obligé, il faut que je le fasse.
Allez, vas-y.
L'auto-journal.
Mais pas plus que 15 secondes.
Two days later, we arrived in the small town of Andalgalá. Located in the province of Catamarca, it is a beautiful, calm, and peaceful place where the inhabitants live to the rhythm of peach and olive crops, and which is crossed by the only river in the region, the Rio Andalgalá, making it look like this small city to a large oasis lost in the middle of the desert. This evening, the pilots meet at the hotel reception for the daily briefing. Simon, the guide who is in charge of the logistics of the expedition, gives his final advice on tomorrow's stage. Because tomorrow, a mountain track is on the program.
No, es un nivel fácil, o sea, no hay dificultades. Lo que sí, muchas curvas, muchas, es una ascensión. O sea, acá estamos a 800 metros y vamos a más de 3000.
temporarily left Route 40 to cross the mountain. Halfway across the pass, it is in the superb panorama of the small mountains of Rodeo Grande, which dominate the entire Tucumanao Valley, that the CFMOTO makes a stop.
Mining companies, they use local.
It's time for YouTubers to take photos and interviews in this sumptuous setting.
Je fais ça assez régulièrement parce que c'est une drogue et c'est vrai que c'est du bonheur. Mais ici, les pistes sont vraiment superbes. Elles ont un bon grip. Et aujourd'hui, là, il a dû pleuvoir un petit peu hier, donc c'était top comme il fallait, aucune poussière et vraiment superbe.
En fait, on est là pour le paysage. Donc là, le paysage, en fait, c'est de ça qu'il faut profiter. Et là, franchement, on va prendre un petit café là en haut. Ça va être...
Cansador, nunca anduve en la tierra, pero bueno, acá estamos.
This morning's mountainous track gave way to another which crosses a long desert of giant cacti. Legend has it that in this corner of the desert, a long time ago, retired Jesuits found gold. All that remains is the remains of the mine that they built, and then abandoned. In the distance, salt flats are reflected in the sun, while the pilots stop in the shade of a grove of trees on the edge of a mountain stream. On the lunch menu, sheep's cheese and Argentinian charcuterie. This afternoon, we must exit the desert via the tracks and join Route 40 in order to head back due north. This evening, we will sleep in Cafayate, but first, we will stop at the ruins of the sacred city of Quilmes, which are on the road. Quilmes. Since the 11th century, the inhabitants of this city, of Chilean origin, lived from agriculture in this place after fleeing the Incas. It became prosperous and of a very high socio-cultural level compared to the time, having developed economic relations with all its neighbors and considered by all as one of the first pre-Hispanic cities in Argentina. Due to its geographical position, Quilmes was able to resist attacks by conquistadors who wanted to annex the site for 130 years. Finally, it was defeated, and its survivors ended up deported to Buenos Aires after an endless march which left half of them dead.
Puis, les Espagnols, à la conquête de l'Amérique, les conquistadors sont arrivés, eux ils ont été un petit peu plus violents. Et ils ont fait la guerre ici pour assouvir les peuples locaux.
The next day in Cafayate, Nico and Eric load the Uruguayan journalist's motorcycle onto the trailer. After a few intense days, he does not feel in good shape and prefers to share the comfortable seat of the second support car for the day. For the rest of the team, it's time to get ready to leave, and in particular adjust the airbags provided by In Motion.
Bon, et tu vois, Simon, j'ai écouté tes bons conseils. 2 jours de batterie. Donc hier, c'était le 2e jour. Je l'ai mis en charge cette nuit. Regarde, il est plein pot là.
Parfait, nickel. Donc là, t'es prêt à partir.
Ouais, parfait.
Mais là, on est en mode route. Et
Oui.
aujourd'hui, on a 150 km de piste.
Ah.
Donc on va le passer en mode aventure.
Il y a 2, ah bon?
Il y a un mode route et un mode aventure. Donc si tu veux, ça va nous permettre d'avoir...
Ça change la sensibilité?
Exactement, ça
D'accord.
change la sensibilité. Donc là, tu vois, il est actif en mode route. Donc là, t'es bon.
Ah ouais.
On va simplement le passer en mode aventure. On confirme. Il est repassé.
D'accord. Et il communique en Bluetooth avec.
Exactement.
C'est
Donc
génial.
là, après, tu vas pouvoir le couper et tu roules tranquille toute la journée. Et en cas de problème, il sera là pour te sauver.
Ok, super. C'est hyper simple en fait.
C'est très simple.
Bon, ben merci.
De
Allez,
rien.
on y va? C'est parti.
It was completely surrounded by vineyards that the pilots took to the road. Cafayate is a renowned wine-growing hotspot throughout Argentina, and its vineyards stretch for miles around.
Donc, on vient d'arriver au point très important de la route 40, qui est en fait la fin de l'asphalte et le début de la piste. On est au point kilométrique 4550 et la route termine ici. Les 700-800 km qui continuent vers le nord, c'est plus que de la piste, jusqu'à la frontière bolivienne. Et les 4500 et des brouettes vers le sud, c'est plus que de l'asphalte ou quasiment que de l'asphalte. Il y a juste des toutes petites portions qui sont en terre. Mais la grosse partie, c'est de l'asphalte. Et à partir de maintenant, on n'est plus que sur la piste.
We leave the green setting offered by the Chalchicuy River to plunge into an arid desert of stone and rock towards an extraordinary place, Agastaco. Route 40 crosses this almost unreal site, where each sharp rock seems to lie on top of its neighbor. Impressive and captivating spectacle. Leaving Agastaco, we arrive in the village of Molinos, nestled in the Calchacuy Valley.
Muchas gracias.
Right next to the San Pedro Church, a pasta dish awaits us in the village inn. This evening, the hotel is in Cachi. It is a small town surrounded by the high mountains of the Cordillera. This is the penultimate stage before Salta, where some pilots will give way to others who will join us to continue the journey. In the early morning, everyone is busy in the parking lot, because the route of today's stage must take the pilots to the Abra El Acai Pass, which culminates at more than 4,900 meters above sea level. The bad weather of recent weeks has completely destroyed certain passages of Route 40, and some locals have warned that certain places are almost impassable.
Si tu veux, vu que la route est cassée par endroits, qu'il y a des précipices et qu'il y a une partie de la montagne qui s'est effondrée sur la route sur la piste 40, on a vu des images, ça passe super moyen, quoi. Ça passe même pratiquement pas, mais on va le faire, pas grave, on va les emmener ces CFMOTO à 5000 mètres d'altitude, c'est clair. Maintenant, est-ce que j'apprends un petit peu? Bah ouais, j'aurais essayé d'arriver en un seul morceau, ça serait pas mal, ça serait même super cool, tu vois. Alors voilà le passage des professionnels. Tu vois, nous on lui passe la moto et voilà, regarde. Voilà. Faut pas leur faire confiance.
The last kilometers towards the pass give rise to sumptuous panoramas of the snow-capped peaks, which peak at 5,700 meters. Here, And for a while now, nothing grows, apart from these tufts of moss and lichens, which seem to adapt perfectly to the aridity of the place, and which cover the sides of the hills. At the top, we are greeted by a half-tame fox waiting for some food. A few photos near the Arbor della Kai sign, and we should already be thinking about leaving again because the climb to the pass was much longer than expected, and the track that goes back down to Salta is still long. We therefore let Route 40 continue through the Cordillere to branch off onto Route 51, which will take us back to the valley. Salta is a large city in northern Argentina where life is good. Its large squares, its colonial architecture, and its busy streets give the feeling of joie de vivre and well-being. It's a bit of a bustle this morning in the hotel parking lot, packing luggage and preparing the machines. This is where Colin, Andrea, Julian, and Angie joined us by plane.
C'est parti. Jusque-là, tout va bien et ça va demeurer comme ça jusqu'à la fin.
Everything okay, ready to rock and roll.
It's their turn to take the handlebars of the CFMOTO 700 MT to Arequipa, Peru. But what will this stage of today be about?
Alors l'étape du jour, Salta Humahuaca. Salta Humahuaca, donc on va sortir de la province de Salta, on est vraiment dans le nord-ouest argentin et on va aujourd'hui sortir de la province de Salta, rentrer dans la province de Jujuy, qui est la province la plus au nord-ouest de l'Argentine, la plus au nord. On va monter à 4350 mètres pour aller voir l'Ornocal, la montagne aux 14 couleurs. Un endroit magnifique, petite piste, une ascension de montagne magnifique. Total 280 et des brouettes pour aujourd'hui, donc belle étape.
The Hornocal Mountains are a fascinating geological curiosity. Sedimentary strata pile up in a succession of triangular shapes in 14 different colors. Located at 4,760 meters above sea level, this fantastic caprice of nature has been classified as a cultural and natural heritage site of humanity by UNESCO. An incredible spectacle that we never tire of admiring, and whose colors, depending on the time of day, change to different tones, giving this immense massif the appearance of abstract paintings. We move to the province of Uruguay, in the far north of Argentina. It is in Humahuaca that we will spend the night. It is a magnificent little village with low houses painted white. There is this atmosphere that we love and which gives meaning to our journey. Simon booked us a restaurant in an alley where supposedly the local cuisine is very good. The atmosphere is excellent and the small restaurant is crowded. Everyone places their order to the sounds of the pan flute and the charango, this little Andean guitar with incomparable tones. In the kitchen, the two chefs are busy at their stoves, very proud to show us their cuisine and their specialties. This morning, we will leave for Susqueys and cross the Andes mountain range towards the west, towards the border with Chile. A stop in the village of Purmamarca is mandatory because it is one of the most beautiful in the region. Its place is surrounded by the mountains of 7 colors, dominated by oranges and reds, which contrast with the blue sky. A magical place which owes its name to the Andean language, Quechua, which means the place of virgin land. A little photo shopping for the whole team before getting back in the saddle. At the start of the afternoon, and after crossing the Potrero Grande Pass, we meet up with the incredible Salinas Grande salt flats. The Salinas Grande Salt Lake is impressive. To infinity, only bordered in the distance by mountains, the Salar gives this image of immensity which impresses. Even though it is much smaller than its big brother, the Uyuni Salar in Bolivia, it is impressive in terms of its size and its harshness. Millions of cubic meters of frozen salt, like a hardened crust that reflects the sun's rays like knife blades.
Il y a du sel encore des volcans et c'est ramené chaque année par les... Ah non, il faut goûter, il faut goûter.
Local guides accompany us and explain to us how, in the past, salt was transported on the backs of llamas, then by donkeys, and finally by motorized means today.
En donde se fueron elevando paulatinamente los cordones occidentales que están de aquel lado de norte a...
Là, on va se faire un petit pique-nique au milieu de la Salinas Grandes. On est à 3420 mètres d'altitude, au milieu d'un salar, c'est un lac salé en fait, qui mesure 212 km², donc c'est gigantesque. Et on est venu faire un petit pique-nique ici, un endroit lunaire.
There are truths and there are lies. Now it's our turn to find out right.
It was in a motel lost in the mountains, and also at this place where we definitively leave Route 40, that we spent the night. A group of bikers sleep there and ask Eric for help to repair a tank leak. It is with Jam that they will finally succeed.
listen to these words. I promise you that you will win one last time. Say it louder, say it for longer. We are stronger than we were before. Travel further, struggle more, but now we're stronger than we were before. Now we're stronger. Now we're stronger. Now we're stronger.
Despite the morning sun, the cold has set in at this high altitude, and on the road that takes us to the Chilean border post, the caravan stops on the side of the road to warm up.
On s'est arrêté un petit peu pour se réchauffer parce que c'est vrai qu'à 4100 mètres il fait un petit peu froid, donc faire des pauses de temps en temps c'est appréciable. Et puis on a eu la chance de voir passer un troupeau de lamas à proximité, donc c'est l'occasion de quelques photos. Franchement c'est un jour parfait.
Enfin, on a un petit arrêt parce qu'en fait on était à 0 et en roulant à 90 on se retrouve à -5. Sauf qu'en bas on avait des gants entre guillemets d'été avec des sous-gants. C'est-à-dire qu'on tient jusqu'à 10 degrés, 8 degrés. Mais là on tenait pas, alors je voyais l'équipe, on était à 100, puis 90, 80, 70, 60. On n'avançait plus, je dis allez on arrête la voiture. On peut ouvrir les bagages. On va prendre les gants chauffants et puis maintenant on va pouvoir rouler à une vitesse normale.
Oui.
It is at a small border post, completely isolated in the middle of the Andes mountain range, that the entire CFMOTO TransAmerica team arrives at the end of the morning. The spare motorcycle is taken down because it must be piloted to pass through customs. Eric, who manages the drone images, will therefore take the wheel to get it to Chile.
Now we are in the border between Argentina and Chile. We are going to ride this bike across the customs. It's easier. So Eric is going to ride the motorbike. We go across the border. The border is literally there, 500 meters. And then in the Chilean side, we might put the bike back in the trailer, or if Eric wants to keep on riding, he can go.
Finally, and despite a long wait under the blazing sun, the formalities will take place without a hitch, and a few hours later, we will head towards San Pedro de Atacama, where we will spend the night. The long descent, which will take us to the Atacama Desert, takes the motorbikes near the Licancabur volcano. Huge and majestic. From its height of 5,900 meters, it seems to dominate the mountains and plains and watch over the town of San Pedro de Atacama from afar. The next day, we still drive due east. We have to cross the Atacama Desert to reach the Pacific Ocean. Long straight lines take us first to the gigantic copper mines of Calama, before taking us slowly down towards the coast. Tonight, we sleep on the shores of the Pacific Ocean, in the port town of Tocopilla, in the Antofagasta region. It is a rather ugly industrial town and an important commercial port from which all the copper ores exploited by the numerous mines in the region leave. Despite this, the sun diffuses its red color and diffuses in the evening, a soft and relaxing atmosphere facing the ocean. Time to refuel the machines at a service station in Tocopilla, and we took the road along the ocean towards Iquique, a large city further north. Today's objective is to reach Codpa, in the Arica region, not far from the border with Peru. National Road Number 1 is traced on a strip of land sandwiched between the end of the Andes mountain range and the ocean. Codpa is a tiny village buried at the bottom of a deep valley, surrounded by steep mountains. To get there, it was necessary to cross a succession of deep canyons, aligned perpendicular to the coast, and which extends over the entire Parinacota region. For once, today's stage is very short because the distance that separates us from Areca is around 100 kilometers. Everyone therefore takes advantage of this short break to rest a little and put their affairs in order. Eric, for his part, lined up the MT-700s to refuel the machines and carry out some maintenance.
It's okay. Petrol is not bad, diesel is very bad. Because diesel is oily. So you can feel it in your mouth for the whole day. Fuel like this, 98, 100 octane, it tastes good. But diesel is the problem. Do not taste diesel.
Last night in Chile, it is in Arica that we will spend it. We arrived late in the afternoon, and the bathers slowly deserted the long sandy beach that borders the town. It never rains here, and the rainfall recorded ranks this place as one of the driest in the world. Not without difficulty, we finally went to Peru. The motorcycles arrived from Europe, and having crossed 2 countries with different riders, it took us the whole day to get through the administrative paperwork imposed by the Chilean customs officers. We covered hundreds of kilometers over the next 2 days, further north towards Arequipa, where the second major stage of our road trip will end.
Donc là, je suis bien près d'un camion. C'est pas ça.
After crossing Argentina and Chile, we have been in Arequipa, Peru's second city, for a few days. Bathed most often by magnificent sunshine, the city mixes modernism and tradition. The large squares on which sit large statues to the glory of Peruvian military figures who distinguished themselves for centuries, and the sumptuous churches follow the high cathedrals, some of which date back to 1541, the date when the city was founded. It is here that the last group of journalists joined us to make the last stage of the CFMOTO TransAmerica, which will take us in 10 days to Lima, further north.
Bah, j'avais hâte en fait, parce que le voyage a été long quand même, 12 heures d'avion, un changement. On est venu ici une journée pour se détendre, mais c'est vrai que l'excitation, voilà quoi, faire de la moto, un voyage, dépaysement, une bande de copains, ouais c'est cool, c'est cool.
Ouais, moi je suis vachement impatient de retrouver de la montagne déjà, parce que ça j'adore. Et puis bah, écoute, ouais, une grande aventure humaine aussi, parce qu'on va partager avec plusieurs camarades ici présents. Donc voilà, c'est cool.
Let's go for this new day, which will bring us this evening to the banks of the mythical Lake Titicaca. The sun slowly fades from the horizon when we arrive on the banks of Lake Titicaca at an altitude of 3,800 meters. What emotion looking at this magical place. Everyone goes there for their photos, their interviews against the backdrop of the lake. We spend the night in an austere inn in a small fishing village called Capachica. The change of scenery is total in this place, as if sheltered from time. It's certain that here it doesn't flow as quickly as elsewhere. The cook is busy behind her stove in the kitchen from another age to concoct us a homemade soup, of which she alone has the secret.
Oh, la soupe, minestrone.
Dans l'heure,
la minestrone.
Mais c'est des trucs.
Parce qu'on part ici, on a 3 minutes. On va pas se on avait jusqu'à
The next morning, the sun is already abundantly shining on the famous lake when everyone heads towards the motorbikes. During the next few days, we will cross several passes at more than 4,000 altitudes to descend almost to sea level in the Peruvian jungle.
En fait, tout est des paysans. Quand tu arrives au Pérou, déjà la ville, nous on a des standards européens, c'est-à-dire, entre guillemets, c'est propre et ordonné, tu vois. Tu arrives dans ces pays-là, Voilà quoi, ils ont. Je vois que les considérations que nous on a en tant qu'Européens sur l'écologie, tout ça, ici, la première chose qui est importante, c'est faire bouffer leurs gamins et avoir un toit, tu vois. Donc ça te recadre un peu sur ta vie un peu confortable, parce que tu vois qu'ici, tu es un peu obligé de te battre pour vivre, que ça soit dans les grandes villes, à Arequipa où on était, ou même ici, là, on est à Liachon, je crois que ça s'appelle Liachon. Tu vois les gens, ils vivent dans la montagne, ils se débrouillent à 100%, ils sont hyper solidaires. Donc ça, en tant qu'Européen tranquille dans ses pompes, tu vois, ça te recadre, quoi. Voilà.
On va monter à quasiment 5000 aujourd'hui. Et on va redescendre à 4003, on va dormir à 4003 chez l'habitant. Ça va être chaud pour dormir, hein. Ça va être moyen. Pas grave, on va prendre des petits cachetons exceptionnellement.
This is wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I didn't think that I would see the light, but now I'm looking at a starry night. It's shining bright. I used to think I was the only one. I thought the earth went around the sun, but now I'm wrong. There's a moment when you start to feel, when you can't believe that this is real, that this world is so amazing. It's wonderful, wonderful. When you think about how life unfolds and the universe just lets you know, when you look again and it has grown. You used to turn around and start to run. Did you ever think this day would come? It has begun. And now the planets look like they've aligned. The year is calm and the sky is bright, step in the light. There's a moment when you start to feel, when you can't believe that this is real, that the world is so amazing. It's wonderful, wonderful. When you think about how life unfolds and the universe just lets you know, when you look again underneath the sky. So wonderful, 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 wonderful. There's a moment when you start to feel, when you can't believe that this is real, that the world is so amazing. It's wonderful,
After several intense days, crossing passes, successions of incredible descents and dizzying ascents, we descended to the very bottom of the Marcapata Valley, in the middle of the jungle. It's very simple. It feels like a Tintin and the Temple of the Sun comic strip. We spend the night in a lodge located in the tiny village of Quinsimo. The heat is stifling, in contrast with the cool nights we spent a few days ago on the shores of Lake Titicaca. Our host, Fernando, a former senior BBC reporter, fascinated us all evening with his incredible reports on drug trafficking in Peru and Colombia.
La nuit dans la jungle, top, génial, le bruit des animaux, les singes, c'était exceptionnel, franchement. Allez, on y retourne.
Aujourd'hui, on va à Cusco. Alors, on va faire exactement l'inverse d'hier. Hier, on était à 4005 et en 100 bornes, on est descendu à 300 mètres. Là, on est à 300 mètres, en 100 bornes. on monte à 4007.
Alors, je vais te poser une question. Il y a 2 nuits, tu m'as fait dormir à 4003. Enfin, dormir. Tu m'as fait m'allonger à 4003. Tu me fais dormir à quelle altitude, c'est ça?
3003.
D'accord.
3003, 3004 à Cusco. Donc
c'est déjà mieux.
Beaucoup plus tranquille.
Déjà mieux. Est-ce qu'il y aura de l'eau chaude?
J'espère.
3 nuits.
C'est quelque chose qu'on ne peut jamais garantir.
Putain, ça caille un petit peu.
We arrive in the mythical city of Cusco at the end of the day. Located in the middle of the Andes, at an altitude of 3,400 meters, the capital of the Inca Empire sees its multicolored houses clinging to the sides of the hills that surround it. Legend has it that the city was founded in the 11th century by Manco Capac after his birth in Lake Titicaca. We will spend 2 days here in order to make the most of the site, and above all, to take a little rest before leaving for the last big stage towards Lima. As usual, since we arrived in Peru, it is a succession of passes to cross which constitutes the program of the day. As the sun gradually fades, we head north. In 2 days, we will arrive in Lima. Last stop this evening. The long journey that we started almost a month ago will end tomorrow when we arrive in Lima. What landscapes we crossed, what anecdotes, what discoveries and encounters we made. Everyone, when going to dinner in a restaurant in the town of Ayacucho, is well aware of how lucky they were to participate in this wonderful event.
J'adore ça.
C'est une durée.
Mais je connaissais pas.
Mais c'est tellement traître.
J'ai pris un plat, une entrée à base de truite, mais comme je parle pas espagnol, en tout cas, si c'est aussi bon que c'est beau, c'est moi qui ai gagné ce soir.
Lui, il prendra quand même un petit bout d'alpaga parce que c'est bon la cocaïne.
Alors lui, c'est un salaud, il mange de l'alpaga, alors que moi, j'ai déclaré l'alpaga comme étant l'animal fétiche de ce ride. Ça me... Je suis pas content.
Never give up. Never give up. Sometimes I just feel unstoppable. Other times I feel I want to go, want to go.
varios acá en la salida.
No veo ninguna acá.
Bah alors attends, il faudrait qu'ils sont physiquement...
I always had my foot right on the brakes, on the brakes. Whoa, when I'm down, I think of what you said. It always helps to get me out my head. Never give up when you're out of luck. Just hold your head high till you reach the top. I know it's tough when you've had enough. Just try to hold on when you wanna give up.
And there we are, we have arrived at the end of our journey, Lima. A bit as if to bring us back to reality with a little brutality, we were stopped by the police just before taking the highway that we had to take to reach a ledge overlooking the Pacific Ocean. We will finally arrive on the seafront a little later to take the group photo which symbolizes the end of our epic. 7,500 kilometers of roads and tracks, 3 countries crossed, 3 discovered cultures. Each of us will leave with something extra, something magical, something unforgettable.
On y est, Lima, 7500 km depuis Buenos Aires. On a traversé une grande partie de l'Argentine en passant par Salta. On a traversé la cordillère des Andes. On est passé près des plus grandes mines de cuivre au monde. On a traversé le Chili, traversé également le Pérou, passant par le lac Titicaca, l'Amazonie, maintenant Lima. 8 motos. On a eu à déplorer quand même une panne très grave, infusible, sur tout le périple. Je pense que les motos ont fait un vraiment super travail. Cette 1600 MT, cette version trail aurait vraiment a su donner le meilleur de son potentiel pour nous rendre la vie facile. Merci aux médias qui nous ont accompagnés. Grâce à eux, on a pu faire que ce rêve devienne réel, à savoir les différents magazines, les influenceurs de différents pays. On a eu 7 pays qui nous ont accompagnés tout au long de ce périple pendant ces 3 sessions. C'était vraiment génial. Merci aux partenaires, merci à CFMOTO, merci à GD France, merci à Inimotion qui ont su nous prêter des gilets pour protéger notre petite santé au cas où on aurait fait voire une grosse bêtise sur nos destriers. Dieu merci, c'est pas arrivé. En tout cas, la mission est accomplie. CFMOTO a traversé un continent et surtout, on est prêt pour la prochaine aventure. Et j'ose espérer que cette aventure que nous avons effectuée pendant 1 mois, elle devrait être disponible pour les clients finaux d'ici 12 à 18 mois. En tout cas, c'est l'objectif. Donc, ce partage, il n'est pas uniquement en images, mais ce sera aussi l'opportunité pour vous de découvrir cette région magnifique, ces gens absolument accueillants, et qu'on puisse mettre à l'honneur ces magnifiques motos. À très bientôt, merci.